Okay. So you're just gonna start your practice today laying down on your back. If being in seated is more comfortable, or really anywhere else, you're also welcome to land yourself there. So just finding the most nourishing, the most comfortable place to start your practice today. Let your eyelids rest a little heavier than when you first landed in this shape. And just simply start to pay attention to your breath. So you're not focused on controlling the breath or fixing it. There's no worry or fear around that next breath. Just simply notice the rhythm. Breath in and breath out. Become aware of the ease of which your body has learned to adapt. That not all of these breaths will be the same. And sometimes we'll have to take that extra sip or gulp of air when we're feeling that we need a little more energy. There may be times where we need to sigh out and physically release tension along with the breath. But you never really have to think about it. Just moving along at this steady rhythm of in and out. Bring awareness to how you landed on your mat today. Sometimes it's a soft, graceful landing, and other times it can feel like we've crashed onto our mats and are still picking up the pieces as we start practice. So just in acknowledging how you've showed up, you can begin to carve out a path ahead with each breath. And that it doesn't matter how you originally landed, because that next breath can be a new beginning. And in honoring where we were before, we can create a gentler and kinder path forward. And recognizing that maybe our 100% today is 50. Maybe we need to hold back, or maybe we really need to challenge ourselves. So instead of holding on to the past, use it to propel you forward into a future that better serves you and gives you more grace to just simply be. Imagine the most nourishing wake up that you can. And just start to move into your body, taking your chin side to side. Maybe you wiggle out your fingertips or your toes. I always like in the mornings to take a giant stretch overhead. So if that feels good, or as I say that, if you're like, yes, that's what I want, just start to reach your hands back, lengthen out through your legs. You can stay here in this big expression of self, or you might start to curl into a ball. You can gently rock side to side. You can take your knees to the left and to the right. So just start to slowly move into whatever shapes feel good. You have about 3 or 4 more breaths. Okay. And then just gently make your way over onto your right hand side in fetal position and pause there. Let your head hang heavy into your right bicep. And then set an intention for these next few minutes that we have together. So it doesn't have to be a perfect intention. Just notice what words come up when you think about what you want to bring into the rest of your practice or even the start of your day. Remembering that to begin doesn't mean we have to have it all planned out. It just simply means that we take that first step and we use the acceleration to just propel us forward into the next step and the next one. So in this breath, what is your intention moving forward? In knowing that intention can definitely change as we go through this practice. Whenever you're ready, start to press yourself up to tabletop, landing on all fours, stacking your bones, shoulders over top of wrists, hips over top of knees. Lower down onto your right forearm, and then start to walk your left fingertips to the top right corner of your mat and just lengthen out through your left side body. You can let your head hang heavy. You can allow your chin to tuck in towards your chest. You can even send your left hip further out to the side if you want to take that more into the lower body. And then gently place your left forearm onto your mat and start to walk your right fingertips now over to the top left corner. You can drop your right ear towards your mat. You can take your chin to chest, whatever just feels nourishing as you start to open up the sides of your body, as you start to create space in the rib cage, shoulder, into your right hip. And let's create a bit of a flow out of that. Come back through center, right forearm onto your mat. Inhale, breath, reach through the left fingertips to the opposite side over to the right. And then exhale, come back to your forearm. Inhale, breath, reach your right hand over to the left. And come back through center. One more to each side, just follow your breath. Inhale as you expand through the rib cage, let that length travel all the way down your hand. And then exhale as you contract, just come back to center. Once you've met back into center with forearms on the ground, start to walk your elbows away from you, meeting into a heart opener, a puppy dog or melting heart. Forehead can come down towards the ground, and just keep this curvature of your spine, almost like a ski jump, starting from your hips all the way down towards your fingertips. Take a full breath in, feel a slight rise of your rib cage, your shoulders, your chest up. And exhale, sink down towards the earth. Inhale, breath, fill up. And exhale to soften. Take one more breath in this shape. And then start to walk your hands back in towards your body. Stacking your hands under your shoulders, spread your fingertips wide. Curl and round into your spine, and then just pause in cat for a few breaths. So keeping shoulders lifted and separated. You can tuck your toes if that feels better. Take your chin to your chest, and then just start to move around, taking your hips left and right, but keeping this arch of your spine. We're gonna add in just a little bit more mobility for the spine. So come back towards center. Send your hips over towards your right heel. And then take that cat shape as you send your hips back towards your heels. Come up onto your fingertips, so it's almost like you're in a turtle shape. And then send your hips over to your left and come back to a neutral spine. So you're gonna come neutral to cat, and you're creating half circles of the body. Okay, this might not look the exact same for everyone, but just start to take your hips over to the left, sweep back and over to the right. And then if you can, add in a little bit of rounding through center. So your chin's gonna tuck down towards your chest. If you have absolutely no idea what's happening right now, just start to move your spine in a way that feels good. That's totally fine. This is really just about creating some mobility for you to warm up and to just feel that safety in your own body rather than putting yourself somewhere that doesn't feel good, that you feel connected to self. So take about 2 more breaths. And then come all the way back through to center. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now you can keep a soft bend into the knees. Press through all 10 fingertips inside your shoulders, away from your ears, up towards your hips. Pedal out your feet like you're walking, so pick up one heel at a time, bend the knee of the heel that's lifting, and then drive the other heel down towards your mat. Should feel a juicy stretch through the back of your calf, hamstring, maybe even into the bottom of your foot. And then take your feet out wide towards the edges of your mat. Soft bend into your knees, walk your hands back towards your feet so that you end up in a fold at the back of your mat with a little bit of a wider stance. Soft bend into your knees, almost so much so that your belly lands on your thighs, and then just start to drape your body. You can let your hands dangle, or you can reach for opposite elbows. Create a infinity symbol or a figure 8 symbol with this movement. So you're shifting side to side, but then start to add in a little bit of those rounded edges. So you're shifting forward into the toes and then maybe back into the heels at times. Notice how this movement starts to change the sensations that you actually feel really minutely. Beautiful. Come back into stillness. And just feel how there's still movement even though you've controlled your body to pause. There's still the expansion and contraction of the breath. Take a deeper bend into your knees, almost like you're sitting back into a chair. Place your hands onto your thighs, elbows bent. And then as you inhale, cow through your spine. Send your heart forward, hips lift up. As you exhale, take a cat in this shape. Press into your thighs. You start to straighten out the arms and curl and round. Inhale, breath. Drop the belly. Send your heart forward, gaze will lift. Exhale, curl and round. Let's take one more breath just like that. Inhale. Belly gets heavier and heavier. Exhale, belly button pulls up to spine. And now with this curved shape, walk your hands up your legs and slowly stack vertebrae one by one to come up to standing. Roll your shoulders once, maybe twice. Pause with your hands forward, Tadasana Mountain Pose, standing at the back of your mat. Close down your eyes. Come back to your intention. That intention might have shifted as you started to move into your body. You started to become more aware of how you were waking up this morning or how you were beginning this day. So know that it's okay if you need to shift that intention. Otherwise, just bring it to mind and allow that word to infuse through every cell of your body. That this isn't something outside of yourself, this is actually something from within, that as you remind yourself of the intention, it's like watering a plant to grow. You are nourishing what you need for your day. Inhale, breath, sweep your fingertips out and up, stand tall. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees, spill over your thighs. Inhale, halfway lift, press into your shins, flat spine. Exhale, fold, walk your hands forward, meet into a plank, high up onto the balls of your feet, eventually maybe even toes. Shoulders stack over top of your wrists. You can lower to your knees if you'd like. We're lowering all the way down. So make sure as you lower, elbows point back behind you and not out to the side. And then let your chest and belly release down. Take your hands wide off of your mat. Elbows point up towards the ceiling. If this feels like a lot for your low back, just take your feet wider, even to the edges of your mat. Press into all 10 fingertips, palms lift. As you inhale, peel away from your mat with your upper body. As you exhale, roll your right shoulder forward and look over to the left. Inhale, breath, lift up through center. Exhale, take your left shoulder forward, left ear towards the mat. Inhale, breath, lift up through center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, breath to lift through center. And exhale, twist and lower. Okay, let's just take one more to each side. Strong through the fingertips, soft as you exhale. The next time that you come up through center, pause, take an extra sip of air, and then gently release down. Place your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself back to a child's pose. So you'll lift up through tabletop, and then take your knees wide, big toes to touch. Sink your hips back towards your heels. Take 3 recovery breaths. You can either just drape your body over your thighs, or you can lengthen the spine and really reach through the fingertips. Elbows may even lift off of your mat if you want this pose to be a little more active. Meet back into down dog. If at any point down dog isn't feeling nourishing for you, or you just need something a little bit easier on the wrists and joints, know you can always come into child's pose or tabletop throughout this practice. From your downward facing dog, walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale, draw your right heel high to the sky, and then bend your right knee and start to flip your right hip over top of your left. So instead of your hips being square, you're trying to stack the right hip up towards the sky or up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, pick up your left heel, peel it away from your mat. As you exhale, step your right foot forward, warrior 1. Shorter stance, turn and pivot your back foot, and as you inhale, rise tall. Shoulders stack over top of your hips. Now I know for me, warrior 1 arms overhead can feel a little sticky for the shoulders. So we're just going to add in a little bit of something different. As you inhale, just reach up a little higher. As you exhale, sweep your right elbow underneath your left. So you can either reach for opposite shoulders, backs of hands, hook your fingers, or take your palms together. Root through the pinky side edge of your back foot so it's not peeling away from the ground. Inhale, reach your fingertips all the way up. Exhale, hinge and fold forward. Elbows and belly button come towards one another. Okay, press into your feet. Inhale, rise high. Draw your forearms away from your face. Exhale, round in. Legs are strong. Inhale, breath, lift up. And then exhale, curl and round in. All right, this is a little bit different. Release your hands and take your hands to the inside of your front foot. Turn and pivot to the left. Straighten out your front leg. Turn your right toes to the long edge of your mat. Start to bend into your back knee. So that'll be your left knee. Now you can keep your foot rooted down, or if your hips go below your knee, you might start to turn your right toes up. Wherever you are, add in an opening of the chest. So left fingertips can walk out, right hand can lift, or left forearm onto your left thigh. And just start to twist your gaze, your heart up towards the ceiling. Gently, you can release from your twist. Walk along the edge of your mat to the front again. Turn and pivot all 10 toes. Lower your back knee down. Inhale, breath, reach your arms high, low runner's lunge. Interlace your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders up and down. And just feel the weight of your knuckles pulling towards the earth. And then the lightness of your chest, your heart, lifting up. So almost like you're being drawn in opposite directions with opposite sensations. Squeeze your inner thighs together. This is gonna help with balance and also to get you a little bit deeper into that left hip flexor. All right, yogis, you want a little bit more of a challenge. You can keep your hands here. Otherwise, you can release your hands towards the ground and send your hips back into a half splits. If you're holding the bind, press into your front foot, start to turn your right toes up, and then fold over top of your leg. Hands can stay connected to low back or float away. You can also just allow your fingertips to grace down to the floor and drape your body. Find the movement of your breath in the stillness of this pose. And if you ever find that your breath is hard to navigate or you're struggling to feel the rhythm, just ease out of the pose a little bit. Breath being a little bit more important than depth. If your hands are in this bind, release your hands to your low back and then towards your mat. Shift forward into your front leg, bending into your knee. Tuck your back toes to lift your knee and then step yourself back to a high plank. All right, I'm gonna cue the vinyasa with knees down the first time. You're welcome to keep them lifted. So lower down onto your knees. As you inhale, shift forward, shoulders to your fingertips. As you exhale, lower all the way down, belly and heart to the mat. As you inhale, just peel your heart away, squeeze your glutes, think about lengthening. And then as you exhale, press down, lifting to tabletop and then hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. Okay, let's do that one more time. Inhale, breath, shift forward into your plank. You can lower your knees. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, baby cobra. Think about length over lift. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale, breath, left heel draws high to the sky. Bend into your left knee and start to peel your side body open. Like your left foot is getting heavier than your right, almost like you could flip this over, but we're not gonna do that quite yet. On your next inhale breath, lift up higher onto the ball of your right foot, heel picks up. Exhale, warrior one. Left foot steps through. Turn and pivot your back foot, and once your feet feel rooted, begin to rise up. Shoulders over top of your hips. Take an inhale breath to lengthen all the way up to your fingertips. Exhale, left elbow sweeps under right. So eagling your arms, doesn't matter what you have a hold of, whether it's hands or shoulders. As you inhale, lift up. As you exhale, begin to fold to the inside of your front leg. Curl and round the spine like you're in that cow or cat pose. Inhale, draw tall belly button to spine. Exhale, hinge forward. One more time, that's it. Inhale, breath, press into your feet to find the lift. And then exhale, trust your feet to hold you as you dive towards the earth. Release the grip of your hands. Begin to turn and pivot over to the right, Skandasana. All 10 toes will turn to the edge of your mat. Bend into your right knee. Optional, take your hips lower and left toes will turn up. So back knee is bent, front leg is straight. Walk your right fingertips out or right forearm onto your thigh, depending on the variation. And then start to peel your left hand up towards the sky. Slide your shoulder down your back. You can keep a softness through your left arm. Relax through the sides of your neck. And just feel the space you're creating. Gently release your hand back down. Walk forward, low runner's lunge. Pick up your hips as you turn and pivot. All 10 toes to the front of your mat. Lower your right knee down. Inhale, take your arms up. And then exhale, interlace your hands. Take that opposite grip so it's a little bit sticky. Roll out your shoulders. Think about the inhale as lifting you up towards the ceiling. The exhale as you're creating a deeper imprint of your body on your mat. So like you're pressing your feet, your shin, even your hands are drawing down through your mat, through the floor to the earth. All right, optional. You can come into your half splits with the bind, pressing into your front foot, beginning to send your hips back and hands float away. This is quite challenging. So if you want, you can just take your hands down and shift your hips back. I might walk with you. Take a couple of breaths in this pause. Notice the length that is being created. Notice the sensations. Can you just be in your body without creating any labels or judgments around this pose? Gently, you can begin to shift forward, releasing your bind. Walk your hands forward, tuck your back toes to lift your back knee, step back, high plank. Okay, so you can take the same movement that we did the last time, lower into knees, or you can keep the knees lifted. As you inhale, shift forward. As you exhale, only lower halfway, elbow squeeze sides of your rib cage. Inhale, untuck the toes, pull your heart forward, up dog. Exhale, roll over the toes, downward facing dog. Let's take one more, your choice of variation for a vinyasa. Inhale, breath, shift to a high or modified plank. Exhale to lower down. Inhale to an up dog or a cobra if you're coming from your knees. And exhale to downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. All right, inhale, breath, draw your right heel high to the sky, bend into your right knee, stack into your hip. Now continue, if it feels okay, to flip your dog over. Right foot becomes so heavy it eventually meets the ground. Left leg will stay straight, so you're on the pinky side edge of that foot. And then if you want to make this deeper, just flip your hips up. Otherwise, you're really just in a modified plank variation. You got it. Nice, you guys. All right, unflip your dog if you're there. Right hand will come down. Inhale, right heel will come high to the sky. Exhale, step forward, high lunge. Keep your back knee lifted. As you inhale, sweep your fingertips all the way up. Perch up higher onto that back foot. So if the back heel is drawing to the ground, peel it away. Lift up through the back of the kneecap, engaging the hamstrings. Beautiful. Take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, twist to your right. Left hand comes forward, right hand comes back. Inhale, breath, sweep down and up through center. Exhale, twist to the right again. Maybe you sink a little lower. One more time, inhale through center. Exhale to twist. Optional to pause here, or place your right hand at your low back and float your left fingertips up to the sky. This will give you a little bit more length through the front of your left hip. Inhale, breath, sweep your right hand down and up, crescent lunge. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Turn and pivot your back foot. Hands come to the front and backs of your mat. Just check in with warrior two with your front knee, that your front knee isn't falling in. So you want to press more to the pinky side edge of the foot so your knee lines up with your ankle. Okay. Flip your front palm to face up. As you inhale, reverse your warrior. Keep that bend into your front knee. Okay, we're gonna go through a flow. Exhale, straighten into your front leg. Lift out of your right hip. Inhale, breath, you're moving to triangle. Begin to flow your upper body through center, hinging forward. And then exhale, take your right hand down and left hand up. Inhale, lift up, reverse your warrior. Bend your front knee. Right hand comes to the sky. Exhale, straighten into your front leg. Inhale, lift up, hinge forward. And then exhale, open up, triangle. One more time, inhale, reverse your warrior. Bend your front knee, right hand lifts. Exhale, straighten into your front leg, reach a little higher. Inhale, lift up through center, send your hips back, right hand forward. And then exhale to triangle. All right, inhale, breath, lift all the way back up through center. Pivot your front toes to face the side of your mat. Take your hands onto your hips. Roll your shoulders out once or twice. Okay, soft bend into your knees. As you inhale, pull your elbows back, lift through your heart. As you exhale, begin to hinge and fold forward. Now hands can stay on your hips, or you can grace them down towards the ground. You can sway your body. There's no right or wrong. I always love this pose to just take what you need, whether that's stillness or movement. Try to relax into the back of your head, neck, and shoulders. Just letting your head hang heavy or shake side to side. Gently walk your hands underneath your shoulders if they were in any other shape. Take an inhale breath to halfway lift and lengthen your body. As you exhale, start to pivot all the way towards the back of your mat. You're gonna keep your legs straight. Now, if this feels too far to keep the legs straight, just step the back foot up so you can meet into pyramid. Optional to turn your back foot slightly out, that's okay. Lengthen your spine still like you're in that halfway lift, and you should receive a nice lengthening through the back of your left leg. If that's feeling like a lot, then you can just simply begin to take a softer bend into your knees. Okay. Optional, you want to add in a little bit more for the last few breaths. Take a twist, left hand to your left hip, or left fingertips reach all the way up towards the sky. Okay. Hopefully this sound is getting a little bit better. Okay, beautiful. Gently release from your twist. Take your left hand down, step to a fold at the new front of your mat. Take an inhale breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, plant your hands, step your toes back, high plank. So optional vinyasa being your high plank, low plank, up dog, down dog, or you can just simply lift your hips up and back to down dog as well. Okay, walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale breath, draw your left heel high to the sky, bend your left knee. And imagine that there's a weight attached to your left ankle and it's slowly rolling you to the pinky side edge of your right foot so that your left toes come down. Left hand can lift to the sky or to the top of your mat. Optional, flip your hips up to create more of that wild thing shape. Amazing. If you did flip your dog, slowly begin to unflip. So you'll float your left foot up to the sky, left hand comes down. As you exhale, high lunge. Step your left foot forward. Stay high on your back toes, and then when you feel ready, rise up. Stacking your bones, shoulders over hips. If you feel unsteady in this pose, make sure you're not on a tight wire. So you can always take your front foot, heel toe it further out to side, take a wider stance. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, twist to your left. Left hand will come back, right hand comes forward. 2 more just like that. Inhale, reset through center. Exhale to twist. Use your breath. Inhale up through center. Exhale, twist. Now you're holding here. Optional, stay exactly as you are. Otherwise, left hand plants to your low back, right hand can reach up. Notice if you're fighting where you are, can you let that next breath be a new beginning? Start fresh as you just simply inhale and let go as you exhale. On your next inhale breath, sweep your left fingertips down and up. Open up warrior 2. Pivot the back foot so your feet are perpendicular. Gaze can follow your front middle finger. So instead of holding in this shape, we're flowing with our breath, but I will cue you through it. Flip your front palm to face up. Inhale breath, reverse your warrior. Keep that bend into your front knee. Exhale, straighten out the front leg, lengthen the side body. Inhale, lift up through center, begin to pour forward. Exhale, triangle. Left hand comes down, right hand up. Use your full inhale, reverse your warrior. Bend into your front knee, lengthen through the left side. Exhale, straighten out your front leg. Inhale, lift up through center, kick your hips back. Exhale, begin to rotate to triangle. One more time, you got this. Bend into your front knee, reverse your warrior. Exhale, straighten out that front leg. Inhale, lift up through center, pour forward. Exhale, triangle. Inhale, breath, you'll lift all the way up. Take your hands to your hips, turn and pivot your left toes to the side of your mat. So feet are parallel. You can always take your feet closer or wider. Roll out the shoulders, take some tension out of your neck. Okay, interlace your hands behind your back. As you inhale, draw your knuckles down, heart lifts. As you exhale, soft bend in your knees, spill forward. Now you can just allow your hands to stay connected to your low back, or they might float away. If you're feeling any tension in the shoulders with this bind, gently release it. Or if you're feeling like you want to come to an inversion, you do have an extra few breaths. So you're welcome to play with that here as well. Okay. Can you let your head rest heavy? Maybe even close your eyes and just feel that movement that's been propelling you forward throughout this practice. Breath in and breath out. Breath in and breath out. Okay. If you do still have a hold of that grip behind your back, release to your low back first and then let go of your fingertips. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen your spine. Pivot to the original front of your mat. So start to pivot over to the right. Your back heel can lift, or you can step it forward and peel it down towards the ground. Optional just to stay here with a flat back, like you're drawing your collarbones to touch the top of your mat. Right hip pulls back, left hip pulls forward. If you want to add in that twist, walk your left fingertips a little bit more out to the side, and then right hand can come towards your low back or reach all the way up. Should feel like a nice release for the hamstrings, especially after all of the work we've also done with the outer edge of the glutes and thighs today. Can you allow yourself to just simply be in this moment without knowing where you have to go next? As you exhale, you can gently release your hand down and step yourself to a fold at the top of your mat. Take your feet wide once again, almost so that they're mat width distance, and then bend into your knees. Drape your body between your thighs. Plant your left hand onto the ground. Now, if your left hand doesn't quite reach or it feels like a stretch, take your left forearm onto your bent left thigh. So it's almost like a shelf. And then as you inhale, straighten out your right leg and twist to the right. Right hand can meet your hip or reach up to the sky. Left fingertips can be down or forearm onto your thigh. As you exhale, bend both knees, come back through center. Right hand replaces left. Inhale, breath, twist open the other side. Left leg straightens. Gaze can come up. Left fingertips reach upward to your hip. Exhale, back through center, bend your knees. Let's take that one more time to each side. Inhale, bend the left knee, straighten the right. Exhale, bend both knees back through center. Inhale, breath, straighten out your left leg, bend your right. And then exhale, come back through center. Inhale, breath, take a halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, plant your hands, step back to a tabletop, one knee at a time, and then shift yourself onto your left hip so you're facing the side of your mat. Okay. Your right leg should be over top of your left. Start to bring your right knee back behind you, and then shift your shins. So your front shin doesn't have to be parallel to the front of the mat. Your heel might be closer in towards your right hip. You're taking deer pose. So it's a variation of pigeon. Pigeon has the straight back leg. Deer has the bent back leg. And we're doing this to get that internal rotation in the back hip. If this feels like a lot on your knee, just grab a sweater or a blanket or pillow to place underneath your back knee. You're welcome to stay tall, or you can start to hinge and fold forward over top of your front leg. What I love with deer is you don't have to fold directly over the shin. Some of you might want to fold more over the knee or even more over the thigh. So there's lots of different places you can fold, as long as there's no pulling in either knee or any pain. Just navigate what sensations you need in this moment. And know that you always have the capacity to change your mind if wherever you've originally chosen is no longer serving you. Slow this right down. As you focus on the movement of your breath, can you allow the thoughts that might have jumbled in your mind or even in the movement to just slowly start to drip away? Wherever you've landed, take 3 more breaths. Allow each inhale to lift you up a millimeter or two. Allow each exhale to sink you down. Inhale breath, like a lightness infusing your body through your lungs. And exhale, release that lightness and just let yourself be heavy for a moment. One more breath, just like that. Walk your hands back up in towards your body. So you're stacking shoulders over top of your hips. Lean to your left so you can scoop up your back leg. Bring your knee in front and then extend your right leg out. So the sole of your left foot should comfortably land somewhere to the inside of your extended leg. Now you can always take props underneath your left knee if that feels like too much opening. Turn and pivot your shoulders so that your heart faces your thigh. Take an inhale breath, grow tall, and then as you exhale, just start to hinge and fold over top of your leg. Don't worry if your fold looks a little bit more like this, that's okay. Just focus on sensation rather than depth. As you start each pose in your practice, it really is a new beginning. It's a different place that we're putting ourselves into. It's a different shift. And so instead of focusing on where that beginning has to get us, can you just focus on starting and allow each breath to be that next start into the breath after and so on. That instead of beginnings becoming these sharp pieces of our practice, that just becomes this beautiful rolling from one pose to the next. Gently walk your hands up your legs to stack shoulders over hips. All right, this should feel nice for the right hip. Plant your left hand beside your left hip or even slightly back. As you press into your left hand, lift up onto the shin of your bent leg. Reach over to the front with your right hand. Take length through the side body. If you want to add in more to the hips, squeeze your glutes and begin to arch back. So hips go forward, right fingertips might even trace behind you. And then as you exhale, slowly lower back down onto your seat. Scoop your extended leg in, shift to your right hip, and then this time your left knee pulls back for deer. In deer, your left hip in this variation will actually lift away from the earth. So if you try to keep it down, it's gonna feel a little sticky. So don't be afraid to tilt forward into your front hip. Whenever you're ready, you can just start to play maybe with folding forward. It might be more of a lean. It might be more of a drink. So don't focus on what it looks like, but feel the sensations in your hips and try to find one that releases tension rather than adds more tension to it. Notice where your mind is wandering in these slower moments of the practice. That this too, the awareness of oneself, can be a new beginning forward into your day. So it's not even just about the physical practice or the breath, but just noticing if things are coming up that you're holding onto, can you take the space to sit with it for a moment, acknowledge, and then release. And give yourself this gift of the next few moments of breath just simply for you. But sometimes we have to sit with ourselves long enough to know what baggage we're carrying so that we know to just release the grip of that handle and take that next step forward. Gently start to walk your hands back up in towards your body. Shift yourself over to your right hip, scooping your left knee forward, and then extend that leg out straight. Sole of the right foot can nestle in. Turn and pivot yourself so your shoulders square with your hips. Inhale, breath lengthen, hands can stay down or reach up, and then exhale, start to hinge and fold. Fold to a place that you feel both a lengthening and a softness through the back of your left leg rather than a hardening. And we're never really looking to harden the body to add tension, but it's always this beautiful balance between the yin and the yang, the effort and the ease. And if you can feel both at the same time, then you really are practicing the duality of yoga. If you do feel like you're tipping the scales more in one direction, just slowly ease somewhere back to a middle ground. And see if you can just hold space for all of the different sensations that show up in this moment. Maybe you start to notice your breath again. Maybe you allow the muscles in your back to soften and release. Gently start to walk your hands back up the length of your leg. One final stretch before we make our way on our back. Right hand to the mat. So you inhale, lift up onto your right shin. Left fingertips draw to the short edge of your mat. Optional, send your hips forward and trace your fingers back to get more into the chest in front of the hips. Otherwise, just lengthen out through the side body. Take one more full gulp of air in. And allow your exhale to lead you back onto your seat. Turn and pivot yourself to the top of your mat, feet planted. Walk your hands back, walk your feet wide, and just drape your knees left and right, left and right. And from there, you can slowly just start to lower yourself onto forearms and eventually all the way down. Bring your knees into your chest to massage out your lower back. Hands can wrap around the tops of your shins and gently shift left and right. And then release the soles of your feet down onto your mat. And just to reset the spine for a moment, feet are hip width distance apart. You can walk your heels in. Hands plant down beside you. As you inhale, take a little bridge. Start to lift your hips up towards the sky. As you exhale, lower back down. So take two more just like that. Inhale, breath. Press into the earth. Lift your hips high. Squeeze your glutes. Exhale, roll down the spine. Release. Okay, one more time. Inhale, breath. Lift up. And then exhale, slowly lower down. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees out to the side. Hands can flip open, or you can take left hand to heart, right hand to belly, or arms overhead. Optional to add in pillows underneath your knees in your supine butterfly if this feels like a lot for your hips. And allow gravity to just start to take over. The effort starting to melt away, offering you more space to step into the ease of this practice. And release your hands to the outer edges of your thighs. Float your knees up through center. And then heel toe your feet so they're hip width distance again. Press into your feet, lift your hips up almost like you did in Little Bridge, and then shift your hips over to the left side of your mat. Take your knees into your chest. Arms can come out wide to a T shape or a cactus shape, and then just slowly allow your knees to cross your body over to the right. Now, if they don't quite meet the ground, you can take props underneath your right thigh or knee, or you can always place a pillow between your legs. If there's a variation with one leg straight, or you've crossed your legs like in twisted root, you're welcome to take any variation and twist that serves you. Twisting is really, really nourishing for the spine, but it also connects into our stomach chakra. And if energetic anatomy is something that lands with you. Your stomach chakra represents your right to act and your right to be. And so as we twist, think about your mind and ego and the labels you put on yourself as a cloth that is so saturated. You have to be so many things to the world that this twist is a wringing out of self, to drop all the labels, the words, the masks that we wear, and just letting them drip away as you lessen the amount of space you have in your body, that you can't possibly hold this. So allow whatever isn't yours to hold anymore to drip away. So that in the next 3 breaths, when we unwind from this twist, you have more space to move forward through the rest of your day and simply being. On your next inhale, you can start to lift your knees back up through center. Pick your hips up and into the middle of your mat, and then take a moment to pause, whether that's in stillness or movement, but pause between sides. So knees can come into chest and you can gently rock side to side. You can plant your feet and windshield wiper. You can take a giant stretch, but just giving yourself that time before you start this next side of the twist. And then whenever you're ready, you'll plant your feet once again. Hips this time shift up and over to the right, and knees will drop all the way over to the left. Gaze might fall in the opposite direction than the first side, but just make sure that this is okay for your neck. If it ever feels like too much, you are welcome to just find a place that's comfortable for you. If there's anything lingering with what you're holding onto, or how you feel like you're carrying something with you into the rest of your day, focus on the sensation of compression in your belly. Focus on the sensation of wringing out your body. Of allowing whatever you don't need to begin this day with to release, to fall away. Maybe you allow your body to rest a little bit heavier, sinking closer towards the earth that is supporting you and holding you. And take 3 more breaths. Feel the lightness and ease of air. No matter where you are, that lightness will always be there. On your next inhale, you can gently unwind back through center. Take any final movements, poses, whatever it is that you need before you land yourself in Shavasana. So that might be knees to chest, might feel nice. You could take waterfall, feet up towards the ceiling. You could always come into a shoulder stand or plow, or even a happy baby if you just want some final movement and lengthening. So don't worry so much about timing. Don't worry about finding the right pose. Your body will know. And then once you feel ready, you can just begin to bring yourself into a comfortable place on your mat for Shavasana. Take a moment to just become aware of what's happening within your body without having to fix or change anything. Notice how different this is from where you started your practice. And honor all of the ups and downs that have transpired since then. Perhaps the moments you wanted to give up, the moments that you fought against yourself, your body, your mind, or even the moments that you were uncertain. Honor those just as much as you honor the moments that were accomplished, the ones that were soft, exciting, gentle. Because all of that brought you here today. And without both the ups and downs, this would be a very different experience. Honor what is so that you can move forward in truth. Not an expectation of perfection, but just by simply being and honoring the human experience. I'll leave you here for just a moment to be with yourself, quiet on my end, and I'll bring you out of this so we can close off together in just a moment. Before you start to get up and move into the rest of your day, can you just take a moment to come back to your intention? Notice if it's shifted, and if it has shifted, what is it that you are bringing with you into the next hour, hours, day, week? When you're ready, you can gently start to move into your body, wiggling into your fingertips and your toes. Starting to wake up again in a nourishing way. How you choose this next step is how you'll choose to move into the rest of your day. And when you're ready, you'll meet yourself onto either side, press up to seated. Gather your hands to heart center. Take a full breath in. And a long exhale, breath out. Thank you for joining me today. Day one, sometimes the hardest one to show up for. And I'm excited to take this journey with you, knowing that the intention may shift and we'll go through some ups and downs, but we'll all be doing it together. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, so much love and so much gratitude. Namaste. Have a really beautiful start to your day. We finished just in time. It started to thunderstorm. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. And if you haven't already checked out the second blog post on sadhana, you're welcome to check that out and start to set up a ritual for you to do every morning. The sound, I think there's just a lot of background noise here, but I will be doing this from my living room, so we should be good for sound. Okay, bye you guys, thank you so much. I'll stay on if anyone wants to chat. Otherwise, enjoy what this day has for you. Mm-hmm. It's waterproof, I think. Thanks, Alyssa. Bye, Kristen. Oh, Kristen says hi, Norm. Kristen. Bye. Bye, Alana. Bye, Jess and Claire. You're welcome, Dana. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, you couldn't have had better timing. 9 o'clock hospital.
Aw, thanks, Ocean.
Just come over here.
Bye, Jess. Okay. Okay, bye, Shauna. See you, Jess. Thanks for coming. Sorry, what did you say? You left me a note? Oh, amazing. I'm just gonna put this